Welcome, everybody. It is Brad Show Live. We're starting a little after 5 o'clock, which is basically right on time for Brad Show Live because we say we're starting at 4:30. So figure 5:05 or so New York time, 35 minutes late. We're right on time. How is everybody today? It's a Tuesday, May 14th. At least in New York, it is beautiful blue skies out. It was a relatively warm day here. If anybody's interested in the weather in New York, in my part of the woods, and what I've noticed, and I'm sure people have noticed in all parts of the woods and cities and country all over the United States and probably all over the world, how blue the sky is. I was actually walking this morning because, as I tell you, every morning I wake up early in the morning and I do my walk. That's my exercise right now. And I looked up in the sky and I said to myself, I don't recall ever in my lifetime. And Uncle Brad, me, I've been around 51 years. I'm not ashamed to say I'm 51. I'm past the halfway mark of my life. I have never, ever, well, I hope, or maybe I'm at the let's hope I'm at the halfway mark. I should live to 102. But I have never ever seen the sky in New York so blue. It's actually really, really pretty to look up against Central Park and the rivers and the huge buildings. It's really, really pretty. It's a shame that once coronavirus is over, we'll be looking back at smog. It's the only thing that I actually enjoy about all of this coronavirus is that there's no cars on the street. I could literally walk across the street. I could put out a dining room table in the middle of any major roadway in New York and probably eat there for 5 minutes, and maybe every so often a car will come around me. I could look up at the beautiful blue sky. It's the one nice thing, no traffic and beautiful air. Other than that, there's really nothing very good about coronavirus time. Nothing good at all. But in the meantime, let's say hello to our entire squad. I got to say hello to them, right? And the first person on Facebook, the first person I watched today, the first person to make a comment, Jessica Levy Joel, how are you? She says, squad up, my loves. Therese Slater saying, hi, Uncle Brad, please stay safe. I am staying safe. I wear my mask. I'll tell you what I do. I wear my mask wherever I go. Once I leave my apartment, when I'm in the hallway of my apartment, before I get in the elevator, I have my mask. I went to the store and I bought some alcohol. It's like 70% and kind of rub it on your hands. So every time I touch a surface, and when I go inside of any building other than my own apartment building, like for example, I went to the bank. I made 2 stops today. I had to go to the bank today and I went to the food store to pick up some fruit. In both places, I had rubber gloves on. So as I walk in, this is what I do to stay safe. It's the best thing that anybody can do. And then obviously when I come home, what I do is I literally take off my clothes. I put on a change of new clothes and wash my hands and my face with soap. And that's how now, whether that's right or wrong, that's what I do. Maybe my daughter's like, why are you changing your clothes so often? I said, well, once I'm outside, we gotta change the clothes. Meanwhile, let me say hello to Lisa Bling Rose, Carlos Estrella, what's up? Cordella Douglas Squad up, Tamika Nelson, Jewel Delph, good afternoon, Uncle Brad, all the way watching from Guyana. And Carol Anderson, the Tiger Squad up, Brad Hunt. Thank you very much. Forrest Mushy, what's going on? Elaine Forster, Stargirl, Mika, Therese Slater, squad up. Shammy Kelman, squad up. Joan Grant, how are you? Monica Stone, Sunita Bachin, and Patricia Lusant, all saying hello, squad up. And on YouTube, how can we miss YouTube? Let me say hello to the squad on YouTube. Carol, the Top Cat Tigress 2 Anderson. She is double fisting. Back it up, Ricky. How are you? Rassel Tolukdar. Elisa Henry Tier Prasad. Funny Kid Video Jose saying squad up. Haven't seen Funny Kid in a while. K Wackery. I like that name. Squad up, gang. Hi, Uncle Brad. You're awesome. Thank you very much. Tania Mo saying hello. And Michael M. just saying hi, Brad. Now, if you are watching on YouTube right now, I'd like you to do something for me. We have 37 people watching. Now, most people have already given me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You read my mind. For the we have 19 thumbs up right now. There's a gray button right under my chin, most likely either on the right or left side of my chin. I'd like you on YouTube right now. Give me a thumbs up if you like the show. If you have not subscribed to our show, you have a friend who hasn't subscribed to our show, tell them to subscribe on YouTube. Okay, for 3 reasons. 1, you get to hang out with the coolest squad in town, the Brad Squad. Everybody knows that. Coolest people. Number two, you will know and be notified every time we come on live on our show. There will never be a day where you say, I wonder when Uncle Brad's coming on, because you know we come, I say 4:30 and here we are 5:05. Sometimes I say 4:30 and we're starting at 4:35. It depends on when we get our act together. So if you subscribe, you're going to get that ding every time that we come on live. Now, I can tell, I say this every day, but I got to keep reminding people. Just because you subscribe to our YouTube channel doesn't necessarily mean that everyone thinks you have an immigration problem. Okay? We have more than 50% of our subscribers. They are legal U.S. citizens or permanent residents. Probably a great majority, more than 50%. And just because you have a name that may end in a vowel, or you have a name that sounds like a foreign name, doesn't necessarily mean you have an immigration problem. The Immigration Service, the Department of Homeland Security, is not going through our subscriber list to figure out to come and knock on your door. But what you will get by subscribing is fantastic entertainment, unbelievable updates on news and politics, and fantastic legal advice on immigration. In addition to, the best part of all is you get to be part of the Brad Squad. And of course, so please subscribe. It's very simple. And on Facebook, you know what you guys need to do. You got to like and follow. Same exact deal. You have to like and follow so you can get that ding. Now, once you subscribe on YouTube, once you like and follow on Facebook, you have the right, and you should, join our Brad Squad community on Facebook. And Jilly Bean is the membership committee. She votes by herself somewhere in her apartment. She holds a vote by herself, and she will decide whether or not you belong as part of Brad Squad. The first step is you got to subscribe or like and follow. We got to know who you are. And then you get to be part of Brad Squad and get to hang out with the coolest crew in town. With that being said, we got to get right into our show. We have a lot to cover today. So as Jonathan Yo-Yo Elias, also known as Baby Boy, says, it's time for Smoozing with Brad. All right, so according to statistics from the Johns Hopkins University, which is we always start our show, there are over now 4.4 million coronavirus cases worldwide. 300,000 people have died. More than 1.5 million people have recovered. In the United States, there's over 1.4 million people. They've been diagnosed with coronavirus. More than 85,000 Americans have died. Over 300,000 have gone to the hospital and recovered. There is a lot of controversy right now on the number of deaths, on the number of people who have been infected. All scientific evidence suggests there are more people who have died who have not been counted, people who died at home, people who died before there was even testing for coronavirus in January and February, people who didn't make it to the hospital or in an ambulance, died in an emergency room. Before they got tested and they died, they were not counted as coronavirus because they were not tested. We're not testing dead people because we needed the test for humans, people who are alive. And now Donald Trump and his people, they are starting to suggest that there's some sort of conspiracy and that there's not as many people who died, I think, to make Donald Trump look good. And so there's a big controversy now. whether these 85,000 Americans have died, whether there's more than 85,000 Americans have died. And if you listen to a few crazy nuts, there's less than 85,000. They say that all the hospitals have gotten together and they're lying about this. Although Donald Trump has come out and he said he has no reason not to believe these statistics. Now, an influential model cited often by the White House, this model is now predicting that by August, there is going to be 147,000 people who will die by August 1st in the United States of America. Dr. Chris Murray told CNN's Don Lemon on Tuesday night, this is an increase of 10,000 deaths from 2 days earlier and double what was projected by Donald Trump 2 weeks ago. Now, Dr. Murray, he's the one who puts this model together, and he says we originally had thought that people would social distance in place right until the end of May. But what's happened is states have relaxed early. Now, Dr. Ashia Jha, the director of the Harvard Global Health Institute, said states can begin to reopen safely if they meet guidelines on declining cases and have a strong testing and contact tracing infrastructure in place. But Dr. Jha says the most states don't meet these requirements. Until we have those in place, we shouldn't be opening. And now, this is from a public health perspective, because all of these doctors were all about public health and saving lives. He said at least 48 states will be partially reopened by Sunday in the midst of a health pandemic that has infected more than 1.4 million people. Nationally, cases and deaths have slowly been trending downward over the last few weeks, but the decline is not evenly spaced among the different states. Still, the reopenings do not mean that all of the states are turning to normal. For example, the University of California college system, they will not be fully reopening in the fall. Even in Georgia, where they have opened everything, including tattoo parlors, bars and nightclubs are still going to remain closed till the end of the month. Restaurants can only reopen with limited capacity. I feel very badly for the restaurant owners because anyone who was ever in I have never been in the restaurant business, but from what I understand, it's really, really hard to make money in a restaurant when you're the owner. Maybe only 1 out of 3 restaurants, even before coronavirus, actually survived 1 year open in the United States of America because, they have to fill the restaurants up and they have expenses. And now, even when restaurants reopen, almost every state is saying, well, you can only fill your restaurant up 25% or 30% or 35%. But they still have to pay their staff the same wages. They still have to, their landlord's not saying to them, because you can only fill up 1/3 of your restaurant, we're only going to charge you 1/3 of the rent. So I'm not sure how restaurants are going to make it. Now, we'll see what happens. The Holy Grail, of course, in this entire pandemic response remains a coronavirus vaccine. In an unprecedented move for U.S. vaccine makers, various private corporations are now going to start to work together on a coronavirus trial by utilizing one large trial. Meanwhile, states are turning their focus toward contact tracing as weapons in the battle against coronavirus. New Orleans is taking the unusual step of requiring restaurants who do open to take the name and telephone number of every person that they serve in their restaurant for 21 days so they can track down people in case a coronavirus spike arises as a result of somebody eating in that particular restaurant. New Jersey is planning to develop a community contact tracing corps that can employ 1,000 to 5,000 people who are going to go and track down people who are sick and then go track down the people that they came into contact with. Even in Georgia, with crazy Governor Brian Kemp, he announced an online tool for contact tracing officials are calling the Healthy Georgia Collaborative, and it's going to help Georgians to identify contacts and monitor systems. In Washington state, hundreds of members of the National Guard will be used as part of an interim contact tracing group. So the states now are getting into contact tracing, and that is figuring out if somebody's sick, who they came into contact with, and then getting them to quarantine. Now, Anthony Fauci, He has issued a stern warning to the United States of America. He testified before Congress yesterday, and he gave caution over reopening the country too soon, especially sending children back to school. Now, Trump has been strongly recommending the country reopen to minimize the economic fallout from the virus, and said he was taken aback by the cautious stance Dr. Fauci expressed. Trump said Fauci's concerns over reopening too quickly, saying, look, he wants to play all sides of the equation. And I've said this time and time again, we're at two wars here. We have a war for the health of Americans, and we have a war for the U.S. economy and the financial wherewithal for Americans. And not only Americans, but worldwide, every country is having the same war. Whether you're in Jamaica, whether you're in Trinidad, we said hello to somebody in Guyana, whether you're in Europe, every country is facing the same war. There is a health war and an economic war. And the problem, at least here in the United States of America, is that Trump, at this point, is only playing the economic war. He's looking to win the economic war, but he is not being honest with the American people and the world about what the casualties will be as a result of winning the economic war. I think if he was more upfront and says, listen, we have very strong, arguments one way or the other, but, this is where we stand. We're willing to take the loss of life. But he's not saying that. He's saying it's absolutely safe for children to go back to school. He was actually, and this was after Fauci said, we don't want to be cavalier about children going back to school. Trump said, I was surprised by his answer, actually, because, it's just, to me, it's not an acceptable answer, especially when it comes to schools. But with the young children, the students, it's really just take a look at the statistics. It's pretty amazing. Meanwhile, that what we're not saying, or what Trump is not saying, is that many experts say there's now an inflammatory disease in children that's linked to Kawasaki disease and toxic shock syndrome, and it could be connected to coronavirus. We just don't know. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said during his press briefing on yesterday, 15 states, including New York, are investigating cases. More than 24 children in Michigan have been diagnosed with this illness. In New York, it's over 102 kids. What happens if we say go back to school, and right now we don't have any kids in school? What are the percentage of children that we're willing to have die as a result of getting this disease that is linked to Kawasaki disease and toxic shock syndrome? What is that percentage that we're willing to allow our children to die so we can open up schools and open up the economy? This is what Donald Trump is not being upfront about. If he says, you know what, we've done the statistics, 500 kids will die, 1,000 kids will die, we're willing to take those consequences. Be upfront and go through what the pros and cons are. Instead, he just says it's safe to go back to school. Just like it was safe to take hydrochloroquine. Very safe. What do you got to lose? Go take it. Turns out the hydrochloroquine was killing people. Now, doctors are calling this new Kawasaki toxic shock syndrome that's being found in children, pediatric multi-symptom inflammatory syndrome. They say the common symptoms include prolonged fever, rash, conjunctivitis, swollen palms, swollen feet, peeling of the skin, and lymph node enlargement. And today, Dr. Rick Bright, he was the immunologist who was unfairly ousted from the Department of Health and Human Services. He was the guy who was in charge of the entire government. They're overseeing every private company that was putting together a vaccine so the American people and the world can be vaccinated from this horrible disease. He was the point man in the US government that was organizing all of these private companies. He was not some mid-level guy. He was the top guy. But he was ousted from the Department of Health and Human Services. He testified before a House panel in a hearing titled Protecting Scientific Integrity in the Coronavirus Response. And what he testified to, that is, if the United States does not develop a plan to address a second wave of this virus, the country will experience the darkest winter in modern history. Trump said of Dr. Bright that he's nothing more than an unhappy and disgruntled person. The fact is that he was saying when Trump was going before the American people, everyone should go take hydrochloroquine. And you know how Trump said it, hydrochloroquine, because he was scared he was not going to pronounce it properly. And he knew hydrochloroquine is not going to work. As a matter of fact, Dr. Fauci, in the middle of the press conference, contradicted Trump, and then Fauci wasn't allowed back at the press conference for the next day. But Dr. Bright knew that, and he said he didn't know why Trump was saying that, but he felt people were getting enriched because Trump was saying, take the hydrochloroquine, which ultimately was dangerous and killed people who had coronavirus. And there ended up being a scarcity of this drug for people who really needed it, who had lupus. So it was a problem in both ways. Now you don't hear anybody saying, take hydrochloroquine, what do you got to lose? You got to lose your life. But that's what Trump was saying. This guy got fired for calling Trump out on it. And now he's saying, we have no response for next winter. We're just opening up the economy. Now, again, we have to win two wars. There is a financial war. So if you only listen to doctors, we'd all sit home and go broke. We can't do that. But there has to be a way that we can win both. And I'm not hearing it from our government. I'm only hearing from Trump that Dr. Fauci's playing both sides of the equation. That's what we want people to do. We want them to play both sides of the equation. I think that is a good thing, not a bad thing. If you're playing both sides of the equation, you're thinking both, we got to win the economic war and we got to save people's lives. It's not one or the other. So when Trump contradicts Fauci and then puts him down by saying, I disagree with Fauci, he's playing both sides, that's not a put down. That's being smart, Fauci. You should be playing both sides. You should be saying to yourself, we have an economic war to win. Yes, but we also have a health crisis to win too. Do we want to send kids back to school and get this Kawasaki disease? How many kids are going to get it? Nobody knows yet. Yet Trump is saying open up schools. Meanwhile, some good news, if there is any good news. Mayor de Blasio said today that New York had the, quote, perfect day for coronavirus indicators. That's good news to me. Today, de Blasio touted New York City's headway in its battle with the coronavirus as the latest city statistics show that the number of new hospital admissions, patients in intensive care units, and the percentages of those testing positive for coronavirus have all dropped. During his daily press briefing of the stats, which have a 2-day reporting lag, so this is from 2 days ago, so even probably today's even better. He said, today's a good day. Every time you stay home, every time you socially distance, every time you put on a face covering, you're helping to drive these numbers down. Patients in the ICUs for suspected coronavirus across the city's 11 public hospitals are down from 561 to 517. Now, that's just public hospitals, not the private hospitals. So there's more patients in New York in ICUs than the 517. We're just talking about the public hospitals. And he says that is a big movement here. It's a big jump in the right direction. The number of people admitted to Big Apple hospitals have dipped from 78 on Monday to 59 on Tuesday. 3 for 3, a perfect day, New York City, Mayor de Blasio yelled out. The indicators have been moving pretty damn well, he said, not quite as well as I want to, but now he is getting optimistic that we're going to be able to open New York, not fully, but at least loosen the reins. Let us all out of our homes by early June. Fingers crossed. Now, Trump, in the meantime, three stories that kind of all go together, and people have to understand this. One, Trump finally made a visit to a mask factory in Pennsylvania. We have a picture of Trump in the mask factory in Pennsylvania. He went to the Owens and Minor factory in Upper Macungie Township, wherever that may be in Pennsylvania. Right outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania. And it was his second trip out of the White House since March. And there he is. Now, if we look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in this picture. Can anybody name who the mask hole is in this picture? We have a general. We have some people in suits. And there is one mask hole in the picture who is going to look at the factory where we're making masks for people to walk around and wear on their face. Who do you think this mask hole is? Now, on Tuesday, Trump tweeted, I'm looking forward to going to Allentown, Pennsylvania on Thursday. I love the state and for very good reason. Now, before we go any further, because there's two additional stories that maybe people don't put together that go with this. Let me tell you. In Wisconsin, there was a high court, and the Republicans sued. There's a Democratic governor of Wisconsin, sued the Democratic governor of Wisconsin to open up the state. They said it's a violation of the state constitution to have a governor say to everyone stay home. It's a violation of my rights. F health, F everybody's health, F public health. And you know what when I say by F it, that's basically it. F them all. We should be open. It's a violation of our constitution. You can't tell me to stay home. Well, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin agreed with the Republicans in a 4-3 decision. And some counties now in Wisconsin have opened up. And there are now people at bars, going to bars with good intentions. And let's see, this is what Wisconsin looks like now. People drinking, people socializing, nobody wearing a mask, nobody social distancing. Now, they may say to themselves, well, this is I'm allowed to do this, and if I get coronavirus, so be it. But that's not the point. If you were to get coronavirus, and so be it, and you want to take that risk, then by all means, go have your beer in the bar. I ain't stopping you. Why this is a problem is because this jackoff goes and gets a beer in the bar and then goes and gets coronavirus and then goes home and gives it to their kids. And the kids go to school and gives it to their teacher. And the teacher goes home and gives it to his or her son who came home to visit mom for the weekend and then flies back to New York. And then that son walks into my office for a consultation and gives it to me. This is how coronavirus happens. This is why it spreads, because some jerk in Wisconsin decides to go have a beer and not social distance. Now, there's one additional story. We go back, if you remember, mask hole in Pennsylvania. Wisconsin tosses out stay-at-home orders. And of course, in Michigan, we got the armed crazies who have gathered again at the state capitol in what the organizing group Michigan United for Liberty, a militia group, branded Judgment Day. This was their third demonstration since Michigan has been under a stay-at-home order from Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer to slow the spread of coronavirus. So now you say to yourself, how do all three of these things, what's their connection? Because you don't hear in the news what the connection is. Now, if you think back to the 2016 election, what were the states that Donald Trump needed to win to beat Hillary Clinton? Needed to win Wisconsin, needed to win Pennsylvania, needed to win Michigan. 3 states that were must wins for Trump. As a matter of fact, Clinton thought she had Wisconsin in the bag and never even showed up to Wisconsin, which was one of her huge mistakes. So Trump sees an election coming up in 6 months, and he knows the American economy is battered. He knows 1 out of 5 people right now are out of a job, are not working. He cannot get reelected based on the economy. So what does he need to do? He has to get people all lathered up and fired up. How does he do that? He says the Democrats are violating your rights. You have the right to go out and have a beer. You don't have the right to stay at home and quarantine and make the world safe for everybody. You have the right to go out and walk and do what you want. That's your American God-given right. And he gets people all lathered up and crazy that the Democrats are stepping on the Constitution. So what does he do? This is his game plan. This is his game plan to get reelected. And if you think it's just a coincidence that the 3 states that are having these big issues right now about stay-at-home orders, Pennsylvania, where he's going for the masks, and he's tweeting, open up Pennsylvania, and Michigan, where he has the militia going into the Capitol, and Wisconsin with the lawsuit against the Democratic governor. If you think that's all coincidence, it's not, because he's lathering up that base in 3 must-win states. Now, in New York locally, more than 80% of those who were issued summonses for social distancing, the cops here in New York giving out summons, $500 fine if you're not social distancing. Now, 80% of those summonses for the $500 fines, guess what? They were given to Black and Latinos. The data revealed of 374 summonses that were handed out from March 16th to May 5th, averaging less than 10 summonses a day over a 42-day period. And of that total, 193 were issued to Black or Hispanic people. Now, Mayor de Blasio said at a press conference on Friday, when I saw those numbers, I found them to be an indicator that something's wrong and we need to fix it, and we will fix it. Yeah, what's wrong is the cops have always been targeting minorities. It's nothing new. I mean, anybody who's a minority says, I knew that would happen, right? I mean, certainly, the cops aren't going up to a bunch of white kids in Central Park saying, hey, pick up your blanket or I'm giving you a fine. Now, the Bronx Attorney's Office told CNN that they have 10 arrests and 12 desk appearance tickets related to social distancing, but the office will not prosecute violations solely for the social distancing. I don't know what de Blasio is going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. Finally, in one of the dumbest ideas that Donald Trump has ever come up with, and there are many dumb ideas, but this could be the cake of dumb Donald Trump ideas. I just wanted to share it with everybody. And there are many things, Trump won't let go of, including late night tweets, his Sharpie, remember Sharpie Gate, his repeated hype of hydrochloroquine, which we just talked about. But now, most recently, Trump keeps talking about painting the border wall along Mexico black. Now, this design change to paint it black, it's not a design change, it's a paint job, is going to cost at least $500 million. $500 million to paint the wall black. Wouldn't that $500 million be great if we gave it to workers so that they can get through this coronavirus? No, we're going to give that $500 million to paint the wall black. Now, military commanders and border officials consider black paint unnecessary, costly, long-term maintenance. You got to keep painting it. This is why they purposely left the border wall unpainted. But Trump has not let go of this idea. He's insisted that the black color will enhance its threatening appearance and leave the steel so hot to touch during the summer months that people will not try to climb it. Now, when he came up with this idea, when he was golfing with his golf partners, when they went to order hot dogs and drinks, he said the countertop on his golf course was black and hot, and he came up with this idea, well, then we're going to paint the border wall black too. Now, I'll say two things about Trump's golf buddies and himself, and I will also say something about the Black Wall, and then we're going to get to our immigration stuff. Number one, I saw a late night host, the guy on Channel 2, CBS, I forgot his name, but the guy on CBS at 11:30, I just went blank on his name, but whatever, he said, well, at night, the sun's not out, people just climb at night. And more importantly, when you think about all of this, the people, when you see the people who are going into the Michigan State House with their guns, and Trump is touring the Colbert, and Trump is touring the mask factory, and he's saying these are the people who will vote for him. I wonder how many of these people he would allow into his golf clubs. Have we seen any of Trump's voters in his golf clubs? Never. He is the biggest fake in the world. He would never allow any of these people in his golf club. He doesn't want to socialize with them or be with them. He's full of it. And with that, folks, we got to get to some immigration. We got to get to some. We'll do that tomorrow. We'll get to some immigration news right now. Immigration questions. So please leave your immigration questions in our comment section. I'm going to be answering them very, very soon. I do have to remind everybody 3 things before we go. Number one, I got to remind you about Instagram. We have Instagram pages. If you follow me at Real Brad Bernstein, follow me at Real Brad Bernstein, you can drop me a DM on at Real Brad Bernstein. And if you drop a DM at Real Brad Bernstein, I'll be happy to answer your question. So if you don't get your immigration questions answered live on my show, you could always drop me a DM at Real Brad Bernstein. You could also follow us at Brad Show Live. If you follow us at Brad Show Live, you can find the Bouncing Brad. There's a post with a Bouncing Brad. If you find Bouncing Brad, there I am bouncing. If you find Bouncing Brad, it's like a Where's Waldo, but if you find Bouncing Brad, you can tag 5 of your friends, like that post, follow us on that Brad Show Live, and maybe I will pull you out of my hat on a Wednesday and give you a free consultation. But you got to follow us at Brad Show Live, find the Bouncing Brad, and tag 5 of your friends. If you're watching us on YouTube and you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe right now. You will be notified every time we come on the air. You will get not only my take on the news, you will also get your immigration questions answered, be really knowledgeable, entertained, and have lots and lots of new friends in the Brad Squad. Same in Facebook. You want to like and follow us on Facebook, do the same exact thing. And if you do that, you can then go apply to Jilly Bean to become part of our Brad Squad group on our Facebook page, which is more than 6,000 strong. Finally, if you are watching on YouTube right now and you have not given me a thumbs up, give it to me right now. You can turn that gray thumb blue. We have 136 people watching on YouTube at this very moment, but only 50 people have given me a thumbs up. So please turn that thumb gray blue. Finally, also, if you're watching on YouTube, my last thing for YouTube, please share this. The best way to share this is press the share button right next to the thumb, and you can share this to your Facebook page, your Tumblr page, your LinkedIn page, your Twitter page. You can copy this link and put it on WhatsApp to your friends, put it in a status. If you're watching on Facebook, you know what you need to do. You need to share this onto your timeline. Every last person should be sharing this onto their timeline right now. In addition to sharing this on your timeline, you should be starting your watch parties now on Facebook. And finally, I keep saying finally, but we have one more finally. One more finally is if you want to make an appointment with me, you want to speak with me, you need to talk to me, best way to do it is call my office right now. It's 1-800 529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-LAW-LINK. Or outside of the United States, you can call 1-212-227-3636. And now, Lee, this is the time you have to put up the notification that I'm going to be answering your immigration questions. All right, so before I get into the immigration questions, I have, it's not necessarily a correction, but a clarification about a question that was asked last week. And I want to clarify my answer because it was right in one context and maybe not correct in another context, depending on how you took it. We had a question last week where somebody said, I'm a battered spouse and I filed my adjustment of status application. Can I get remarried? And I took that to believe, because I watched the show and I said, oh, it could be taken another way. But I took that to believe that they had an approved I-360 application and then you were now filing your adjustment of status application. And I said yes, and I moved on to the next question without any explanation to that. Now, this is what the law says. I just happened to be watching that show last night, and I said to myself, maybe somebody would have misunderstood that. If you are an abused spouse and you have the I-360 approved, the battered spouse petition approved, you can remarry, even if your adjustment is not finalized yet. As long as the I-360 is approved, you could remarry. If your I-360 is not approved, you cannot remarry and complete the VAWA case. So I want to make that clear. It's get the I-360 approved, you can get remarried. You don't have the I-360 approved, you don't get remarried. And I just answered that yes, because I read the question that that the I-360 was approved and I was applying for adjustment, and maybe that was incorrect on how I understood that question or what the person was asking. So I just wanted to clarify that and what the rule is. With that said, let's get to our immigration questions. And our first question is, so I'm going through here on my phone on Facebook. Patrice Lusant. Hi, Uncle Brad. You guys are amazing. Katrina is a blessing. I'll be coming to you soon for the I-290B. And that, oh, okay. Well, that was just a pre-comment of the day. I thought that was a question. Thank you, Patricia. I look forward to helping you. Monica Stone, not liking my look today. She says, before the show, I should change my clothes and take a shower. Or is that what she was referring to when I go take a walk? Let's see what else. I'm not sure what she was referring to, or maybe she doesn't like my look today. All right, I will make sure to shower before the show. I do shower in the morning though, but I didn't think my odor could make it through the computer. But if it does, I'll shower now. Now I know. All right, Rosalie Smith says, hi, Brad. My I-130 has been approved. My I-797 sent to the National Visa Center Department. The notice date is March 30th, 2020. The notice states I should hear from them in 30 days. If I don't, after the 30 days, I should send an email to the email address. I have not received the mail as yet. I'm living in Jamaica. I'm asking you, should I wait a bit more or send the email now? Rosalie, it does not hurt to send an email. The squeaky wheel always gets the oil with immigration. So if they said send an email after 30 days, you should send it. Don't wait for something to happen. Follow the directions. Absolutely send an email. What else do we have here? Hey, Uncle Brad, this is Young Money Rogers. Hey, Uncle Brad, my friend filed a VAWA since 2018, but up to now, There's no decision to take on his case, but the inquiry has been complete. So what should he do now? I'm not sure what you mean by the inquiry is complete, but if your friend filed a VAWA in 2018, we're now almost halfway through 2020. I think now's the time for him to call for a consultation and figure out what the problem is. It does take 18 to 20 months for a VAWA approval, so I'm not sure how far he's into it, but it does take that long. J.N. Pereira. Hi, Brad. Great show. Like it a lot. Thank you very much. I have a question. Hopefully I have an answer. I'm going to ask USCIS to hold on to my I-45 until file my VAWA. Originally filed with the I-130. USCIS gave me 30 days to file my VAWA and sent a copy of receipt back to them so they can decide on my pending I-45. It's now been 60 days since they received my RFE. Field office is yet to make that decision. Do you know what the procedure is from here? I do know the procedure. If you file the VAWA, it's going to take 18 months before they make a decision. So you have to get the VAWA approved first before the field office makes a decision on your I-45. The I-45 is your green card. They can't give you a green card until the VAWA is approved. So you got to get your VAWA approved first. What they're doing is they're holding your I-45 in abeyance so you don't have to file a new I-45 and pay a new filing fee. So you'll be able to use the work permit that you have. You'll be able to use the travel document that you have. You'll be able to renew it, but don't expect anything from the field office on your I-45 until your VAWA is approved. Star Girl Mika says she wants to correct me. And she's saying it loud and clear. She's yelling it at me. Brad, I have to correct you on the best squad in town comment. We are the best squad in the world. We are loving, caring, supportive, and kind. We are there for each other. And we've learned so much from you over the years that we're even able to assist you and answer an easy question that comes up on the show. There is no better squad in the world. Stargirl Mika with the pre, post, and middle comments of the day. I agree, and you should be yelling that one out. And my apologies. It's not the best in town. It's the best in the world. Jerry Myas. I'm petitioning my mom. USCIS asked me to send an RFE and asking my birth certificate and DNA. I'm planning to do both, but the clinic in my country is closed. What should I do? Okay, number one, if USCIS is asking for your DNA, you do it. You do the DNA through the USCIS website. Follow their directions. I'm not sure what country you are in, but most medical clinics should be open. If you are having problems, come see me or call us. But you don't just go and do a random blood test. You do it through the auspices of the USCIS. Follow their directions, and they will tell you where to go. Monica Stone. How many places do you want me to turn my head? YouTube, Instagram, and Instagram. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You got to turn your head on all three, Monica. Victoria Rodriguez. I removed conditional processing time as extended. What happens if the extension expires before it's even processed? The extension of the conditional green card expires May 2021. Removal was filed October 2019. So they give you 18 months. They give you 18 months when you file the extension. Until the day they make a decision, you are a lawful resident of the United States, even if you don't have evidence of it. It's not like all of a sudden you become illegal. Now, after 18 months, if they still don't have an answer for you, you can make an InfoPass appointment, go down to your local office, and they'll put a stamp in your passport indicating that you are a resident of the United States for an additional 12 months to allow you to work and travel and everything else. Jasmine Caballero, what immigration due on the priority date? The priority dates are the dates in which green cards become available to you in the quota system. The quota system is employment and family-based immigration, and those would be your unmarried children over the age of 21 of U.S. citizens, spouses and children of permanent residents, brothers and sisters of U.S. citizens, plus all the employment-based categories. There's quotas. So the priority date is your place online in that quota system. When your priority date is reached, presumably you're eligible for your green card if you did the right things. Elizabeth Francis. I did not see this story about a black man that went to deliver furniture and at the community where they want to know how he got the code for the gate, and they were blocking him because he didn't tell them why he was there. And after the person he delivered the furniture let him know he was really there to deliver furniture. Can you imagine how gross that was? Yes, I can imagine. If you have this story, please send it to us in our DM. We'll talk about it. I did not see that, but I would love to see that. Brad, is there any truth that if there's money in your bank account, you will not get unemployment benefits? That's absolutely not true. It has nothing to do with money in your bank account. If you're entitled to unemployment benefits, whether you have $1 million in your bank or $5 in your bank. Miss Badoon Abdullah Fash. Hello, great Uncle B. How you doing, family? May the Lord continue to save us in this pandemic. Thank you. Please, I want to know, is SNAP under public charge? Does it not affect my citizenship? I'm pregnant, just got my social and work permit. Thanks. SNAP is public charge. It does not affect your citizenship. It also does not affect if you're getting it as a result of pregnancy or you're getting it for your children. Victoria Rodriguez, I answered already. Kenny Sang with a question. Hi, Brad. Do you know of any VAWA waived interviews and green cards sent through mail? It's happened a few times of late. Any reason behind this? I think if you have a really open and shut case and they have nothing to ask you, they're trying to get rid of their backlog. I've seen a few of them, but 95% are getting interviews. Lovely LaFleur, Michelle. Hi, Uncle. I've been waiting for an interview for my husband. It's been 13 months. Should I email them or should I wait till the pandemic? Should I get an attorney involved in the case? I think it's time to get an attorney involved in the case if you're waiting 13 months. Jeremiah says the specific clinic that the USCIS recommends is closed voluntarily for the DNA. Jessica Kalimi, I missed your question. Please ask it again. Then Jerry, you're going to need to call me and have a consultation with me because I don't know all the clinics in the Philippines, but we will certainly figure it all out. All right, so let's see what our questions are on YouTube. On YouTube, Grace Ann Mailer has a question. My mom filed a 216. My mom filed 2016. I'm over 21. I'm in the USA. She used a lawyer. However, she just moved to another floor in her same apartment. Should we notify USCIS or wait until the lawyer gets the approval notice? I would notify USCIS. You can do it AR-11. Make sure that the mail doesn't get sent to the wrong apartment and the new person in the apartment's a jerk and doesn't give it to you. So yeah, I would notify USCIS. It's just an AR-11. It's very easy to do. God's Property. Hi, Brad. Is the Nigerian ban still in effect? It is. It's still in effect. What can I do as a Nigerian when I get my interview for my CR1 visa at the U.S. Embassy? Well, hopefully by that point, it will not be in effect. I don't know how far you are. You're not going to get an interview until the ban is over. I'm not sure how far you are from getting your appointment. Nevertheless, we're going to have an election in November. Hopefully Biden wins. Hopefully Trump reverses the Nigerian ban after the election. We'll see how it goes. Daniel K. When I file adjustment for my mom here in the U.S. with me age less than 65, do I have to submit a specific health insurance plan with the adjustment? Any health insurance would be good that your mom has. If she can't get it, then bring health insurance to the time of the interview, simply because these days your mom has to show, and every person has to show, that they're able to, in addition to, this is the concept, in addition to getting an affidavit of support from your petitioner, there's an additional step where the beneficiary, the person getting the green card, has to establish to the satisfaction of the Immigration Service, and they have these plus categories and minus categories, that they will not become a burden to the U.S. government. So how do you do that? You come in with health insurance to say, if I get sick, I don't need Medicaid. So bring it to the interview if you don't have it at the time of filing. Sunday Unwado. Hello, Mr. Brad. My spouse was my sponsor and she lost her job. If we are called for a second interview, will it affect my status? It could if you don't have a good affidavit of support, and certainly if you're not working. So yeah, it's a concern. Kay, God bless. I received a text May 4th from USCIS to say they received my adjustment of status, and if I don't get a notice in the mail, contact them by May 7th. It's now a week and I have not gotten anything. What should I do? Contact them. Follow the direction. Absolutely. Tracy Lacey. Over 100 people watching the show. Some love by giving a thumbs up underneath this video. Thank you very much, Tracy. Modor, I guess. My question is, do I need my wife to go with me for the N400 interview? And if not, is the officer will ask about here. The officer is going to ask if you're basing it on a 3-year bona fide marriage, but your wife does not need to show up to the N400 interview. N400 I-751 interview and no decision yet after 7 months, please. It's time for a mandamus. Dowda Rogers, hey, Uncle Brad, my friend filed a VAWA since 2018, but up to now there's no decision taken in his case, but the inquiry has been complete. The answer is if it's more than 18 months, your friend should be contacting me. Pinoy 096. I'm petitioning my mom. USCIS asked me to send an RFE. They're asking for my birth certificate and DNA. I'm planning to do both, but the clinic, oh, we answered that. I don't know the story of open and closed clinics in the Philippines. So what we have to tell immigration is if the clinic's closed, we want to do the DNA. We've done my portion here in the United States. And when the clinic opens in the Philippines, we'll do that portion as well. And it would have to be some sort of affidavit submitted with the RFE to that effect. So I think at this point you would need a lawyer. Tracy says, I'm never able to ask a question here and get a response. Am I that bad lucky? Tracy, ask your question. I will answer it. I promise you. Sometimes I just don't see them. So ask it again. Rupan Thakador. Hi, Brad. Tell something about 60 days ban, please. Is the lawsuit trying to stop the 60-day ban? Any update? There is no new update that I have read on the 60-day ban. We're 40 some odd days into it right now. I don't know what's going to happen after the 60 days, whether it will be extended or not. Court cases take time. Injunctions take time. I believe that if it's extended past the 60 days, the courts will hear and make a decision on the injunction. If 60 days comes and goes and there's no extension, my guess is the court will drop the case saying it's moot now because there's no more ban. So let's see what happens. Kay, God bless. We answered that question. All right. My question is, Tracy, it is your lucky day. It is Tracy's lucky day. She says she never has luck getting her question answered. Today, she's getting it answered. My question is, if I'm married to a citizen, but I have not yet had an interview, can I get divorced and remarry? What's the time to do this? You can always get divorced. You don't have to go and stay in an unhappy marriage. You can get divorced, and then you can marry your true love. Do it now. Right now, immigration's not scheduling appointments anyway. They're backed up. Get divorced, withdraw your adjustment, remarry again. As long as you can prove the first marriage was real and the second marriage is real, you are allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, and fall back in love again. And if you want to have a consultation with me and talk about it more in depth, because obviously you're having problems with your current husband and you're in obviously some other relationship with another man, then I think you need a consultation. Spider-Man says, you always look hero, no need to shower. Thank you very much. Track Palmer, hey, Brad, I've applied to remove the 2-year temporary condition, but I think I will be here over 3 years living with my wife before it's approved. Will I only be able to apply for citizenship after? you can apply for citizenship after 3 years of having a conditional resident, even if your I-751 is not approved. But as you saw in one of the questions earlier, when you apply for your citizenship and the I-751 simultaneously, at least my experience has been it actually delays your case. It doesn't make it go faster. I'm generally of the opinion, but sometimes I change my mind depending on the situation and the facts. But I'm generally of the opinion to let the I-751 take its course, get approved, and then turn around and do your citizenship. Tracy says she's marrying because I'm in love with this man and the other is not lining my child. Okay, call me, Tracy. I don't know what lining my child means. Invader TV. Hey, Uncle Brad, I'm married to an American citizen. I received my work permit like 2 weeks ago. Should I apply for my Social Security card or should I wait? You can definitely apply for your Social Security card. Go do it. Tracy, she says, listen to me, man. I'm not sure if you got what I asked because I have some typos. No, I didn't get it. So use some intelligence and decipher my initial question. Thanks. Got it? Listen, I said to you, you're allowed to fall in love, fall out of love, and fall back in love again. It's okay. You're just going to have to prove that the first and second marriages were real. And finally, Pinoy, my mom's in the Philippines in specific clinic that USCIS recommended is closed. The DNA is only for voluntary. I'm not sure what that means. Again, I already answered that question. I said we're going to have to show that the clinic is closed. Maybe there's another clinic somewhere in the Philippines that's open. We will have to see what's going on there. Let's see if there's any stragglers here on Facebook with any additional questions. Zingo Thomas, if a category error was on your green card, how would you get it fixed? You would have to submit the green card back and file a new I-90 with a fee waiver and get the green card corrected. Jessica Leamy wanted to know, what are the requirements to obtain a U visa? A U visa is a visa for people who were the victims of specific crimes who suffered an injury, and those have to be serious crimes. So the first thing that you need to do is show you were the victim of a crime and get a law enforcement official to sign an official document from immigration that not only were you the victim of a serious crime, but also that you helped in participating in the investigation or prosecution of the criminal. Once you do that, you submit your U visa application with the law enforcement letter along with proof of your injury, whether you went to the hospital or psychological, but you have to show an injury. And there's a specific list of crimes that are covered under U visa, and there's a specific list that are not covered. Mostly it's crimes involving injury to you. Ajoki Alami has a question. If someone is charged and went for jail for 90 days and her status said guilty of negligent driving in 2009 and supervision for 2 years and paid fine of $500 and wants to get married this year, is this criminal record going to stop her from filing for her spouse? If they're a U.S. citizen, it will not stop them from filing for the spouse. Elizabeth Francis saying, just please ask your question once. Honey Boo Bo Lang. What if you get pregnant by someone else while filing for battered spouse? That's okay, as long as you can prove that the abuse from your spouse was legitimate. You were legitimately abused, and it was in a bona fide marriage that you were living with him. And you don't get married to the person who you're pregnant with until that I-360 is approved. Lusana Tanay, but you're allowed to have a relationship with another person as an abused spouse. There's no law that says you have to stay home and enter no relationship. Just the law says don't get married until the I-360 is approved. Louisiana Tanay, can you petition a family member while they're in the USA? Sure you can. Let's see what else. Loki Sam. Is a dismissed charge have the same impact on good moral character like a convicted charge? Every time you're arrested can affect good moral character. Only a conviction could make you inadmissible or deportable. But every arrest can impact moral character. Georgia M. Nugent. I did my biometric in December 2019. How long after before I get my work permit social? It should be shortly. First Lady Leah. Hi, Uncle Brad. After the National Visa Center approves your documents and they say they will work with the Jamaican embassy, how long will it take for them to send the case to the embassy and get a date for children under 17? About 2 to 3 months. Preeti Chadra. What if the options to stay and work in U.S. if one loses her job while an H-1B extension application is pending with USCIS? That needs a consultation because we need to know a lot more. You may have options, certainly, but we got to figure it out. With more information from Vera, green card petition. If the financial support isn't sufficient, can a green card holder, my friend, act as an additional support for the petitioner? Depends who's sponsoring you. What is the sponsorship about? Danish Danny is sorry for asking a question that just hit his mind while others were asking, but I don't know what that question is. Padian Hodge, hi Brad, thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing. Quick question. It's not so quick, it's a long one. My sister is a green card holder and is currently in the process of getting her citizenship. However, due to the pandemic, her appointment was canceled, so she's wondering if she can apply for adjustment of status for her husband who's residing in the U.S. with her now, or she has to wait for the citizenship first. If the husband is in legal status and she has an I-130 pending and the priority date is current, yes. Otherwise, wait until she's a citizen. Shian Mash. Hi, I'm a U.S. citizen. Can I apply for my brother who is an F1 student and 22 years old? What's the best option for my brother? I applied for my parents' I-130 and it's processing. Yeah, you can file for him, but it's going to be 15 years. So the answer is yes, you can file. Is that the best thing to do for him? Probably not. What should you do for him? I think we would need to have a consultation and figure it out. You know, all of those, how do I get a green card questions really require a consultation. There's no form that says, oh, I'm here, fill this form out and you get a green card. So all of those questions, you know, my H-1B, got turned down. How do I get my green card? Have my brother's here on a student visa. What's the best way for him to get a green card? All of those require consultations. And the telephone number is 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-529-5465. And finally, a couple of last questions on YouTube. Duck Cow. Hi, Brad. My mom petitions me under the F2B, but she will naturalize soon. Should I send an opt-out request with the I-45 package or separately to USCIS? I'm in the U.S. Should I send to NVC as well? Thanks. If you're in legal status and your priority date is current in the F2B, you can file your I-485 and opt into the F2B with your adjustment package. If you're out of status, you have to be 245I to adjust. So before you start filing papers, Duck Cow, we got to figure that stuff out. Pinoy06, I've answered your question 5 times. Go back and watch the YouTube. Spider-Man, if a U.S. citizen or green card marries out of the U.S., stays there for only 5 months, comes back to the USA spouse, can you file a VAWA if they have strong proof of domestic violence? Absolutely. Dominic Smith, does public charge affect cases at the National Visa Center since 2019? Yes, they do. Tiara L, hi, Uncle Brad. If a widow gets help with her rent, will she fall under public charge? If it's Section 8, yes. R. Hines, yo, Brad, processing times for I-130 in the Texas Service Center reduced from 7 to 9, 5 to 7 months. What's your take on it? Means they're working faster. That's my take on it. Saba S. Hi, Uncle Brad. I'm an LPR I-130 pending for my spouse abroad. We are expecting a baby. Can newborn be included in the visa interview once the I-130 is approved, or file separate I-130? If you don't intend to become a U.S. citizen, the newborn can be put into the approved I-130. You don't need to file a new one. If you intend on becoming a citizen, file the I-130 for the newborn as soon as they're born, and you'll upgrade it when you become a citizen, because the day you become a citizen, that newborn will fall off your wife's case. And on Facebook, let's see if there's anything else. Last question on Facebook. Vera Rapalda. For a spousal visa, could a friend green card holder be an additional support? Yes. If we saved up money in the bank, which would be shown in the bank statement, would that be good enough for financial support? I don't know what money you have saved up in the bank, but generally they really want to see tax returns unless that money in the bank has been there for a very long time. They're going to want to ask you for 3 years of bank statements, and they're going to average it out, and then you can only take 20% of that, and then you got to show how you earned that money, and it was taxable money earned legally. Last question, because it's straggled in, from Victoria Rodriguez. Hi, Brad, it's me again. I was wondering, how much is your consultation fee? I hope I can afford it. My case is actually complicated. It's removal. My husband and I are separated. I've been hard times with my 2 kids. I considered a single parent. My consultation fee is $200, but during the pandemic, I reduced it because I realized people have some financial issues. So I reduced my consultation fee during the pandemic to $150. I hope that's helpful to you. I hope you can afford it. And if you can call us at 1-800-529-5465. Internationally, the number is 212-227-8933. If you liked our show, I'm going to say it one last time. Please subscribe on YouTube. Become part of the Brad Squad. You have nothing to be concerned about. If you subscribe on YouTube, nobody's coming for you. The government's not looking at you, and no one's going to think you're an illegal alien. There's lots of U.S. citizens who subscribe. Lots, more than 50%. And you'll get really good entertainment, really good information. And in addition, you will be notified every time we come on live. So please subscribe on Facebook, on YouTube, and like and follow us on Facebook as well. If you didn't get your immigration question answered, you can follow me at Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram. Drop me a DM. I'm happy to answer it. You can also follow us at Bradshaw Live. If you want a chance at a free consultation, follow us on Bradshaw Live. Find the Bouncing Brad. You find Bouncing Brad right there. He is. Tag 5 friends on Bouncing Brad, and we'll put you in my hat, and maybe you'll get pulled for a free consultation. And finally, we will be all back again tomorrow, sometime between 4:30 and 5 o'clock. Until then, stay safe. Have a pleasant evening, and I'll see you all tomorrow in about 24 hours. Thanks for watching.